What's up, everyone? This is just like a quick thing that I'm about to do right now, like a shower thought that I just had. So, with the information that I'm putting out and, doing more research into this topic, I'm starting to learn more things and starting to tie things together from previous cases or, documents about these, the phenomena. And so I think I've come up with kind of a pretty good idea of what we're seeing. It might not be the entire thing, but I think that it's something that makes a lot of sense here, okay? So I'll just start from the beginning, right? So let's say the 1940s or whatever, we start having these Foo Fighter sightings with our planes being up in the sky and them being attracted to the propellers and the energy and the heat signatures from the plane that the extraterrestrial life document showed, the research paper, right? That's what these things are attracted to. They are attracted to energy. So we start seeing this boom in sightings, right? The Foo Fighters. And we're catching them, then we start seeing them on our radar systems and stuff like that, right? And then we start, having crash retrievals. Some of them are starting to come down, right? And so, okay, it might not make any sense, but to me it makes a little bit of sense, right? So we have cases where people say that the inside of the craft was way bigger than the outside of the craft, right? These things seem to be alive. There have been multiple cases where people have said, oh, the UFOs are alive, right? Now, the beings are very real. That's a very real phenomenon that people have experienced. And I mean, how we have bodies in Peru, right, and Mexico, that we've seen the alien bodies and stuff like that. So it got me thinking, like, what does all this mean? How are they reverse engineering this technology, and how does this all tie in together? All right, I think that can you stop? I think that there are multiple extraterrestrial lives, right? Mahad Hashed, who was the Israel space director for 20 years, defense director for 20 years, said that there's a galactic federation that is waiting for humanity to understand what space and spaceships actually are, right? Now, what does that mean? Well, when we start looking into the technology and stuff behind how these UFOs move and how their energy sources work, we start getting into like free energy, anti-gravity, faster than light travel, warp drive, all technologies that revolve around there being the existence of the ether, that realm in between, our space and everywhere else in the universe, right? This is the thing that connects everything. This is how our consciousness has the ability to be non-localized, how remote viewing, how telepathy, premonition, precognition, clairvoyance. This is how all those things work, right? Is because we can tap into this ether on a, I hate using the word spiritual, but on a spiritual level, and get some of this information that is out there, right? So this is why I kind of think that these technologies like free energy or anti-gravity are being hidden, is because this whole thing touches on the concept of consciousness, which is very self-empowering. It empowers the individual. We start being like, okay, so consciousness is non-localized and there is something after death, right? Boom, humanity's changed forever, right? And so back to the UFO stuff, right? So let's think about this. We see cases of Foo Fighters where it says, oh, they seemed like they were toying with us, or oh, the craft was morphing and there are these other beings or craft around it, right? These things seem alive. So what if the way that this technology works is that these aliens, let's say that's what they are, right? These aliens have the ability to almost alchemically summon a ship, right? You can just from the fabric of space itself, you can morph a spaceship into being, right? These plasmoids, they can spontaneously appear even in a vacuum, and that's how Hans Alvin discovered them, right? Because he was working with electromagnetic energy inside of a vacuum, and then he started noticing, well, why is all this dust and plasma getting in here, right? Because these things can just come into existence, right? And it would make sense that if you could put enough energy from yourself into the universe around you, you could, isn't that the whole idea of the Philosopher's Stone, right? You could, manifest this structure. And so that's what we're seeing, is we're seeing a manifestation of, mental consciousness into reality. And that's why these ships appear to be alive, is because they are alive, right? They are utilizing, their selves. Maybe they're connecting with something else in the ether realm, and they're creating a spaceship, right? So that's one thing. Why do the ships appear to be alive, and why do they seem like they're dancing? Well, because some of the ships are just by themselves organisms that are up there, doing the thing, right? And another thing is because these things are conscious and alive, right? It's like when people say, it felt like the spaceship was talking to me, or it knew I was there. Well, because the spaceship is alive and it's conscious. Now, the next thing, how is it that people have said that the inside of the ship was a lot bigger than the outside, right? We have to start getting into interdimensional. Now, what does that even mean, right? So, a lot of people are going to hate that I'm bringing this up, but the MH370 videos, right? I mean, the science behind those are, like set in stone. Like, we understand how this stuff works, right? They have that technology. We even know why they teleported that freaking plane. The 20 free-scale room temperature superconductor engineers who were Chinese nationalists who were defecting back to China to give them the information, and America was like, nah, you ain't doing that. Snatched them out the air, right? So if we were to utilize that same principle, okay, of, the ether, it would be possible for you to have, let's say, a ship, right? And then you'd have your space where you're looking into the ship from, right? It reminds me of the Star Trek episode Schism, when they opened up this portal or something. That is such a good analogy for this reference. Right? So there was an interdimensional race who opened up a portal into our dimension via just like a little porthole, and they're like pulling people in and doing experiments and stuff like that, right? So it would make sense that I could sit here, and it would be like in the sense of like a Merkaba, right? You generate a spaceship, and you push it out into the universe, and you're looking into it as it does its thing. And then you can open up and bring things in if you want, or you can let things out, right? And this is just like one part of the facet. This is me trying to like think, okay, how does this all work, right? And what makes sense to me also is like, if this ether realm is this place where our consciousness resides, right? There could be disembodied consciousness, people who have left this realm and then went to the other. I personally hold like a belief in Buddhism, right? Samsara. They've understood, and they stepped out of the cycle of reincarnation, right? They don't have to occupy these vessels anymore, right? And then when you're in there, you may be able to generate a physical manifestation of yourself with the universe itself. And that's how we see like orbs, or we see these weird shapes and stuff like that. Or, like I said, Enoch, right? The wheels within wheels, the being with eyes all over its body, the cherub, I think. And so I think that a lot of these encounters and stuff in the past were actual, like, in the simplest terms, spirits. But it's not like some, I mean, it kind of is, it's kind of some freaking angelic being coming in from the ether, right? Like, it's crazy. And I never thought that I'd be like kind of getting more woo-woo, I guess you could say, from this topic, because I came at it from a nuts and bolts, and then I went into it from a biological, and now I'm starting to look at it a little bit more as like an interdimensional spiritual thing. And it would make sense as to why the government doesn't want this information to come out, because it's, it's reality shattering, right? As all the people say, it's big, a lot of people can't digest this truth, right? That's what they all say. And I think that this is part of that topic. Now, for the idea of like the nuts and bolts craft, I think either they have the ability to manifest these craft themselves, And, I think Jacques Vallée was saying that these beings can be and make nuts and bolts craft. So it's possible that the government has some people who have the ability to do this, or they've, figured out a way how to create this, and there's some crazy material, the nuclei of the universe, congealing it together and forming atoms and, material. Or they are tapping into the ether with like 0 point energy and creating these, anti-gravitic and warp drive, faster than light traveling machines that utilize the ether still, but it's made out of materials that we have, right? And I mean, this is all, speculation and stuff, and me personally trying to figure out, what is up with this mystery and what is going on, right? And this is the thing that makes the most sense to me at the moment. And then, if you guys are only in this for the UFOs and plasmas, you can go ahead and click out now, because I'm about to get into some ancient civilization stuff right now. But, we look at all these megalithic structures and all these tool marks, power tool marks that are seen all over the world from an ancient civilization, right? On top of that, all of these structures are on top of ley lines, energetic nodes of the planet. Why is that? Why are they made out of energetic stone, 60% quartz? What is going on here? And could it be that they are tapping into this ether as well and generating a space for these plasmoid creatures, and could they possibly create buildings? Could they create tools out of this substance of the universe? And that's how we're seeing all of these, crazy tool marks and, 1,000-ton granite stones and these incredible structures of just unreal that could not be done with the attributed tools of the time, right? Is because they had some sort of crazy plasma tech cutting tool, which is a known method of cutting into granite, right? Plasma. That's like the top dog of the technology that we have. What? My cat, Nebula, she wants to say hello. You want to say hi? You want to say hi? Yeah? She likes it when I talk or something. But yeah. So, I just find it really interesting, because we see the exact same structures and megalithic structures all over the world, right? All atop energetic parts of the earth, right? Could it be, like I said, that they've created some sort of hub or something which, utilize this energy, utilize these beings, and that they lived in some sort of golden age, right? Where their awareness was higher than we are now, right? We are in the Kali Yuga, we are basically asleep to it, Only a few people can experience things like that, like remote viewing or telepathy or stuff like that. And then we get to the topic of them disappearing and it being destroyed. Now, in the ancient texts, like in the, story of Thoth, the Emerald Tablets, and even a lot of other ones, it speaks of like Atlantis being destroyed. Why was it destroyed? Well, it was destroyed because the hearts of men had darkened, right? And, is it possible that they tried to create, something of bad and malice outside of, the equilibrium of the universe? They tried to create their own thing, which in turn backfired on them, right? And, the sun is apparently, plasma, could be conscious as well. Is it possible that the sun sent out a solar flare and just wiped everything out? That's why we see all of these burn marks all over these extremely hard granite structures, like the rock just melted. Doesn't make any sense. People went underground to survive, because there was a lightning strike, plasma, lightning coming down on the earth every second. We have these microspheroids and soot all over the world. The ice caps melted. Is it because they tapped into something that was not good and the world had to be destroyed by, the natural forces of the universe? And that's what they say in the stories. And it makes more sense if we were to think that there could be consciousness and powerful beings inside of this ether realm that they were tapping into, and creating a society around. I like to think of it, maybe if you guys have seen the Fifth Element movie, the scene at the beginning when they have that big, huge, fiery ball, and he says, "It is pure evil. It cannot be identified because it chooses not to be identified." It was like, hate begets hate, my president, hate begets hate, right? Maybe it's something like that, just like the worst of the worst evil, right? Just like corrupted the souls of men and then, destroyed them. And Thoth and his 7 brothers tried to escape and go and rebuild what they had done in Atlantis all over the world. And that's why we see all of these beautiful megalithic structures all over the world. But that didn't work either. It got destroyed also. And, how did it get destroyed? When did it get destroyed? There's so many dates for annihilation events on the planet. We know for sure that 12,000 years ago with the, all the evidence, the extinction of, I think, like 90% of all the megafauna in America, and, like some crazy number all over the world, the giant ground sloths that were like 15 feet, saber-toothed tiger, short-faced bear, the mammoth, all of these animals wiped out. Your mainstream archaeologists say, oh, it was humans overhunted them and then left their bones in the piles of millions, the broken bones and stuff, and cauldrons that just look like water ditches where water would have ran into. Right? Doesn't make sense. The establishment is definitely lying, and they are trying to keep the story of history that it is. This little nice 6,000 year period. Oh yeah, you can have your God, you can have your Bible, your Hindu, right? All fits into this little box. But I think that our reality is a lot more interesting than what, we've been taught since we were young. And I just wanted to share that with everybody. And I hope you all enjoy this little talk. Maybe I'll post it, maybe I won't. But yeah, this is From Thought. Much love. Peace out. You want to say bye? You want to say bye? Bye? I tried, guys. Later.